And boom, cold open. This podcast was originally scheduled to come out literally a week ago. But I was in the middle of working 11 days straight, 12-hour days, blah blah blah, whole 9 yards. The Liberty went and won the championship, and basically it was a bunch of nights of me being exhausted from work. And excuses. Anyway, this is the West preview / catch up. Obviously, the season has started. We're like 4 games in at this point. And looking at it now, my East preview kind of holds up. So I'm not, and like record wise, there are a couple of misses here, but it's about the same. So, I don't want to hear anyone being like, "Oh, it says preview, but the season's already underway." Colin, you know what? I was tired. I was busy. The Liberty were in the middle of a championship run. I voted today, so if you are a citizen and you have not already, make sure you are out voting. Lovely day here in New York City, about 60 degrees. I voted and bought myself a steak. Probably going to make that tonight or tomorrow. Very exciting stuff going on here. Anyway, make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing. Yeah, Anchor, Breaker, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're there, baby. Check us out. Check us out for Football Podcast Weekly. We've got an artist podcast coming up probably next month, I'll say. But we've started to plan that out. And, yeah. Hope everyone's having a great day. And let's get it. Play the music.
No problem. I still got Plan C. Ladies and gentlemen.
And we are Johann Sebastian Bach, baby. So I'm going to do this in a similar format as I did the East. Just go through the teams 1 through 15. Record last year where they finished, and if there's any changes. So for instance, Deontay Murray for the Pelicans broke his I think his hand or arm. So he's going to be out for a while, so I'll mention that. And yeah, let's get into it. Team number 1 in the West. So I'm going to go by city name. We're going alphabetically. Also, if you hear some jingling in the background, my cat is playing with a cat toy, and I'm too lazy to stifle his joy. So, sorry, not sorry. Mavs. Starting off. Dallas, D, it's before any of the others. Anyway, Dallas, last year they were 50-32, 5th in the West. Went to the finals on the back of a crazy Luka run, as well as Kyrie seemingly returning to Kyrie form. They added Dinwiddie, you added Thompson, you added Quentin Grimes, you lost Josh Green, Hardaway Jr., Jones Jr., yeah, I don't know. I mean, projected lineup of Doncic, Irving, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Derek Lively, and Gafford based off of matchup, is a Jason Kidd coach team. You did not lose much, if anything, from your run last year. I mean, they did get a little better. Clay's days as a number 2 are definitely over, but as a serviceable 3 / maybe even 4 could definitely work. There's going to be times where Clay definitely gets benched for a more athletic player. That's just what it is. Yeah. I mean, are you going to get another healthy season / I'll say not well acting, but is Kyrie going to behave, full year Kyrie behaving? We'll see. West seemingly gets better year after year. But I mean, the Mavs are still the Mavs. I think this is the year Luka Doncic goes for MVP. I think, I think they can go back to the finals again. It would not shock me to see this team back in the finals. Anyway, moving on. An interesting team. The Denver Nuggets last year finished 57-25, second in the West. They have added Westbrook and Saric, lost KCP, Reggie Jackson. So you have a lineup now that's not all different, but Murray, Brown, Porter Jr., Gordon, Jokic. Mike Malone's still the coach. They lost more depth. They lost more defensive presence because KCP was a big defensive guy. Westbrook is going to be good energy off the bench, but I actually think this team is going to degrade a little bit. They play my Brooklyn Nets tonight. I will be in the building, so I will get to see this in person to really formulate my opinion. But I don't know, man. Through the years with this run, they've kind of lost the pieces that really made things tick, just in terms of the dirty work. KCP did a lot of dirty work. Bruce Brown certainly did a lot of dirty work. Jeff Green, lots of dirty work. And I know you're like, oh, Colin, these are like bit players. Can't they replace them? Well, they haven't. And I know they won 57 games last year, but I don't know. Murray and Jokic, they're locked up 4 more seasons together. Westbrook, again, energy off the bench. I do think Saric is an interesting ad for them. I don't know how well, he and Jokic will work together, but I have always liked Saric. But who's the perimeter defender? You lost to the Wolves last year because of depth and athleticism, and neither one of those have been dealt with this offseason. I mean, stay healthy, and you're like, with Jokic, you're walking 50 wins, I don't know. This year, they're definitely not going to be a number one. No way. But just interesting position they're in. Moving on. The Golden State Curries. Oh, yeah. 46-36, 10th in the West. So that's a play-in team last year. 46, to be 10 games above 500 and you're only in the play-in, that's just fucking crazy. Added Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield, and Melton. D'Anthony Melton, really good, solid. Wow, I'm redundant now. Really solid role player. You lost CP3, Clay, Saric, re-signed Curry for a year, so you'd think starting lineup-wise, you go Curry, Podziemski. I always fuck up saying that name. Andrew Wiggins, Kuminga, and then I guess Draymond starting center. This is such an interesting team because, Steve Kerr has been raving about having 12 guys and how they're so deep and da-da-da. He's having trouble, sorting it all out. But if Steph misses literally any amount of time, and I think he's missing 1 to 2 games, and they'll be reevaluated for an ankle injury. If that's over 5 to 7 games, forget about getting into the West playoffs. That is a play-in team. Steph is 36, man. And he's got a smaller body. He's done a good job of staying conditioned and helping bulk up his body for the physicality of the NBA. But dude is still 36. And Draymond's another year older. It's hard to see Draymond anchoring this defense yet again. And is Draymond gonna? It's the same thing with Kyrie. If Draymond is good boy, then, then that's great. But I don't know. Is there a move to, further bolster their depth? Because it's like, cool, so who's the number 2 now? Like, Clay was not a number 2 that could be relied on anymore. But is it Wiggins? Is it Kuminga? Kuminga turned down a pretty big payday because he felt he was worth more. So it's like, okay, well, are you making that leap now? I don't know. Has this core run its course? I think this season will be a very, very interesting way to look at it. Currently 2-1, so, still early. But I don't know. If I'm a Warriors fan, I'm very happy I still have all my draft picks. Moving on. The Houston Rockets. They were 41-41 last season. Good for 11th in the West. Didn't really add anyone. I mean, depending on how you feel about AJ Griffin. Didn't lose anyone, so that's good. So, looking at the lineup, you go Van Vliet, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith, and Şengün. Ime Udoka, former Celtics coach. I mean, he was coaching them last year, but he's coaching them again this year. This is a fun team. There's youth. There's vet leadership now. Jalen Green really showed a step in the right direction at the end of last season. You paid him. You paid him and Şengün. I'm interested to see if Şengün's gonna be traded now that they re-signed him. They played really well without him. Ime, great head coach. Yeah, I think he'll provide a firm hand and solid tactics. They'll be a problem, but because the West is the West, I think they're a play-in team. And I think they need to figure out if Şengün, Jabari Smith is that the future going forward. Got to figure that out. Beyond that, I don't have much on the Rockets. I think another year in the system could be good for them, but it is so damn hard to break into the West, just in terms of even playing, because it's all going to be so competitive by the end of the year. Anyway, moving on. The Los Angeles Clippers, 51-31, 4th in the West last year. You add Mo Bamba, you add Batum, Chris Dunn. There are names. Yeah, okay. But you lost Paul George, you lost Plumlee, you lost Westbrook, you lost Tice. Those are 4 guys who can definitely be contributors on a winning team. Well, Westbrook, yeah. But, no. So, Clippers are in a really fucked up space. Like, if I'm a Clipper fan, I don't feel good about anything. Because you re-sign Harden, you re-sign Zubac, re-sign Man, and you re-sign Kawhi. I think it was like a little less than a year ago. Kawhi's out. Kawhi ain't playing for a little while. And now his former trainer is suing the Clippers, being like, yeah, you fucked up his knees, buddy. And maybe that's why they were okay with letting Paul George go, because they knew his knees were shot. Anyway, Ty Lue still coaching here. Again, this is such a what do you do? Because you can't fully tank because you don't have your pick for 5 years. Kawhi's out, so now it's just Harden and the Hardenettes, right? You picked Harden over George. You don't have control over your draft for the next 5 drafts. It just, when does the cliff come? I like Ty Lue, but if this bottoms out, is he really still the coach? Relying on Harden and Leonard for 82 games, it's just a mistake, man. I'm not sure where this team goes, and it's not up. you need to look at the 2010s Nets to figure out how to sort of get that back. Because it's not looking good, guys. Kawhi's injured. No draft capital. Who knows how long Harden's in on this team? I don't know. I'm sorry. I have nothing good for the fucking Clippers fans here. I'm very sorry. Moving across town to the Lakers. I actually don't know the distance between... It's Inglewood and downtown LA. I don't know the distance between that. It's probably not too far. Probably like a mile or two. Producer, somebody look at that. I'm kidding. I don't have a producer. Anyway, Lakers 47-35. They are 9th in the West. Didn't add anyone in the offseason besides Bronny James. Haha. Dalton Connect too. Who I like Dalton Connect. You lost Spencer Dinwiddie, Torian Prince. Meh. Re-signed LeBron and Max Christie. Meh. I think they've been going with D'Lo, Austin Rivers, LeBron, Rui, and Davis as the lineup. JJ Redick, new coach. Things look good. They're 3-1 right now. I don't know if this will last. This team. It's like we're running it back. Like, really? Davis and LeBron played 65 games, and they only won 47 games. In the West, that's just not good enough. Not this year, I don't think. New coach in the building, as I said. I think they'll shoot more threes, but I don't even know if this team's gonna be 500. Can LeBron still carry this team? I'm very interested. I want to see where they're at after 20 games, though, because I do think JJ Redick has been doing a good job, and I'm curious to see if the health is going to hold up, curious to see if the system is going to hold up. On to the next. It's the Memphis Grizzlies. Haha. Grizzlies last year, 27-55, 13th in the West. Didn't really add anyone besides Zach Edey. Take that, however you feel about Zach Edey, because hasn't looked great with him so far. So your projected lineup right now is like, I guess you go Ja, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, Triple J, and I guess you start Zach Edey, right? Taylor Jenkins coaching this team. And yeah, no, the Grizz were the young and up and coming team, and they were really throwing hands. But I think they've been through some weird stuff. Last 2 seasons have totally been derailed by injury and just off the court action. And yeah, sure, there's been some freak injuries, but this team needs to find the spark again, or things are gonna get bad. I think Edey is a good Adams replacement, but he's still young and can definitely get hunted on the court. I do think this is a playoff team beyond the play-in. I think, 6th, 5th seed, that feels about right. But there's been so much unknown in the past 2 seasons, and they mentioned this on Simmons' podcast where, we had been looking for the next American superstar, and, it very well could have been Ja, but the last 2 seasons happened, and Anthony Edwards kind of just slid right in and has been on that corner ever since. I think even if just it doesn't work, this team can still get in the play-in. But at the same time, I actually don't know, because there's a lot of not a lot of unknowns, but there's a decent amount of unknowns on this team, and I don't know. I'm curious to see where this goes. Next one. The Minnesota Timberwolves. Last year, Minnesota, 56-26, third in the West. They have added Dante DiVincenzo, Joe Ingles, Julius Randle, lost Kyle Anderson, Monty Morris, Bodega Cat. So, you think they trot out Conley, Ant, Jaden McDaniels, not to be confused with Jaden Daniels, Julius Randle, and Gobert. His team has a chance to be, potentially stunning, I think. If Ant continues on the superstar arc, this is the next step. You trade Cat, but get good pieces in return. DVD, good compliment to Ant, will be a great compliment just off the bench. I think Naz Reid, you hope to see that he continues to develop. I think their team defense and athleticism can potentially be fucking shocking, and if healthy, they'll win 55-plus games. Dillingham, also an interesting piece. Really excited to see how they kind of use that and go about, employing him. I mean, the thing is, the Cat thing was over. It had become Ant's team, and I think you wanted to show that. Finchy, good head coach. I don't know. This team could be a 1 seed, but their ceiling is super high, and I'm interested to see how low the floor can be. Because if Ant's not ready, and Julius Randle ends up, mucking things up in the paint, and suddenly people are unhappy, then it's going to be very interesting. But I'm choosing to look at the upside of this team, and I think they could be special. Moving on to the New Orleans. People who are from New Orleans, don't shoot me. Last year, Pelicans, 49-33. Great record, man. Almost 50 wins. Good for 7th in the West. I can't believe they won almost 50 games and they were still relegated to the play-in. That's fucking insane to me. You had Javonte Green, Deontay Murray, Tice. No Dyson Daniels and Nance Jr. because of the trade. Valanciunas, gone. Re-signed Alvarado. So you think you go Murray, CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Zion, and I don't think they play Herb Jones at center, but you might kind of have to now. Willie Green back at the helm again. The West is so deep this year, and the Pels are running it back, right? They sacked a little depth for some more top-end talent in Murray. I think the Murray trade will definitely help with scoring and some playmaking, but I do worry about ball movement and the ball getting sticky quick on this offense. You just take a look. It's okay, CJ, Murray, Ingram, and Zion. Those are all guys who kind of work well with the ball. So, I don't know. Dyson Daniels definitely helped out on defense, but I don't think it'll suffer too much just because you still have so much size on this team. I do worry about the lack of big man depth on this team. Zion looks to be in great shape, but, let's see if he stays healthy. Yeah, I unfortunately think this team will end up in the play-in again. I love their pieces, but not how they fit together. And yeah, that's just what it's gonna be, Moving on. Oak City Thunderes. Last year, Oklahoma City, 57-25, first in the West. Traded away Giddey. Gordon Hayward retired. You added Caruso and Hartenstein, both just great ads. So you'd think you go SGA, Dort, Jalen Williams, Chet, Hartenstein. Hartenstein, unfortunately, has broken his hand, so he's not playing at the moment. But they're still 4-0, top of the West. Or, sorry, 3-0. Either way. Mark Dagnall taking over again. And I mean, let's just be simple with it. OKC is in the most enviable position in the NBA. Maybe ever. Maybe ever. Picks for years, young roster, great coach, great GM. There's not a whole lot of negatives to be found with this team. Caruso and Hartenstein will be immediate plug-and-play guys. They own the Clippers' first-round pick this year, so they could be the number 1 seed and still have the highest lottery odds. That's fucking insane. Like, you're going to tell me that OKC is going to get Cooper Flagg or Ace Bailey because they just are in the position they are. Like, it's so disgusting. Yeah, unlimited upside with this team. They could be NBA champions. And even if the season goes really poorly, this will still be a 4 seed at the absolute least. There's too much depth and too much talent on this team for that to not happen. Moving on to the Phoenix Suns. 49-33 last year, 6th in the West. Had some interesting ads. Tyus Jones, Plumlee, Monte Morris. You lost Eubanks and Eric Gordon. Oh no. So they finally have a point guard, guys. Yay! So proud of you guys. So I bet they go Tyus Jones, Booker, Beal, KD, Nurkic. You know, don't change too much of what got you there. But, you know, still make little adjustments. Budenholzer, sorry, coming in to coach this team. And honestly, like, Vogel last year, I don't think he was awful, but the team was built in a way where he could not succeed. He is a defensive head coach. You had no point guard, and this team didn't need defense, you know? Like, I know they wanted to shore up the defense, but you needed cohesiveness more than anything, especially with the Bradley Beal trade. And I think they finally kind of said, like, okay, you know, Budenholzer, he can make this team cohesive. You know, he's won 60+ games in both of his previous stints. So, you know, not a bad choice. And I don't think people realize how much of a disaster last year was. Durant is coming to the end of his prime, and I don't know if Book can carry this. So, in my opinion, this is kind of the last season that we'll kind of see high-level KD, like high level. Yeah, they also, the thing is, they also have 0 assets to trade. Beal is expensive as shit. Does this fucking expensive aging team have what it takes? If healthy, sure, but who knows? You know, I'd be nervous for the next 2 years if I'm a Suns fan. I think this, as somebody who's been on the other side of it, this can get bad really, 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 really quickly. So just strap in, pray for health, and go from there. Anyway. I think that I know people are like, oh, they're 3-1 right now. Shut up. It's early. I don't know. I think they can make it to the conference finals. Everything goes right. Get the right matchups. But you're not beating OKC. You're not beating OKC. I don't know if you're beating the Mavericks. I don't know if you're beating the Timberwolves. Moving on. Portland. 21-61 last year. 15th in the West. Added Denny Avdija. Devontae Graham. Lost Brogdon. Oh no. So your lineup, you go Scoot, Simons, Avdija, Grant, and Ayton. I mean, are we thrilled about this team? You know, Chauncey running it back. And, like, what's the deal with Scoot? I know he finished this season with improvement last year, but is this team ready to start winning in the West? Not this year. Not this year. Is Chauncey the coach of this team? I think this is the year we find out. It'll be interesting. Lots of unknown just floating around. I'm a little worried that Billups is out of the job by the year's end. I like the Avdija trade. I think Denny is a very good player and can contribute, but I don't know. I think this is going to be a bad team. And, they're 1-3 to start the season. So it just kind of tells you. Yeah, they might be fucking bad this year. Anyway, 3 more teams to go. Next team, Sacramento Kings, 46-36, 9th in the West last year. They added DeMar DeRozan and some other pieces. You do lose Harrison Barnes and Davion Mitchell, so you're like, yes, you trot out, I guess, Fox, Keon Ellis, DeMar, Keegan Murray, and Sabonis, right? Mike Brown's still coaching. The Kings are fun. I know they're 1-2 right now. But DeMar to go with Fox is a really interesting combination. I'm curious to see how it'll work later down the line because, as we all know, DeMar doesn't shoot threes. I know they'll score 1 million points, but I'm not super sure that will be conducive with winning. And, I've mentioned it over and over and over and over and over again, but it really is stupid how deep the West is. If the Kings were in the East, this would be so much better and so much of a smoother ride, but they're not. Oh, well. We'll see if the Kings can continue on their sort of breakneck offensive pace because we know that kind of play style leads to regular season wins. So we'll see if they can run it back. I am a little worried that this will be a play-in team again, / maybe even a lottery team. But I don't know. We'll see. Mike Brown is a good head coach. We'll see what he can do for this for the squad. All right, second to last team. The Spurs of San Antone. Last year were 22-60, 14th in the West. You have added Harrison Barnes, CP3, lost Devontae Graham, didn't really re-sign anyone. So you'd think the starting lineup goes CP3, Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Sohan, Wemby. I am really excited about the Spurs. Their franchise is definitely in a better place now versus a year ago. Wemby, if you look at some of the best year twos of any big men, it's just they make a leap of any big man, of like Hall of Fame big men is what I should have said. And now there's adults in the room. It's not just Vassell, Sohan, and I love Wemby, but like you need veteran leadership around him. So while I do want to put the Spurs in the playoffs, the depth of the West makes me super, super hesitant too. I think Castle is a fun rookie. We'll see how far he goes. But yeah, I think it'll be a fun season, but not a strong enough one to avoid the play-in. At the Spurs best, I unfortunately think that's what we're going to be at. There's just too much depth in the league right now. And night in, night out, like you're dealing with some really fucking talented players no matter who you're playing. Like the Nets just beat the Milwaukee Bucks. I know the Bucks have started kind of slow, but it's crazy. It's crazy to some people. Also, the Detroit Pistons are 0-4. Shout out to the Detroit Pistons. Last team we got here, Utah Jazz. Last year, the Jazz were 31-51, 12th in the West. Added Patty Mills, Drew Eubanks. Oh. Lost Chris Dunn. Not Chris Dunn. I forgot which Dunn this is. I should have put a first initial. Anyway, it's not important. You re-signed Larry Markkinen, so now your lineup is like Keontae George, Colin Sexton, Lowry Markkinen, Taylor Hendricks, and John Collins. Can Will Hardy coach this team to the fucking play-in? I unfortunately don't think so. I'm not sure where the Jazz are at. I think they want to, like, be cheeks for one more season. You need a couple more West teams to fall apart before they decide they want playoffs, I think. Either way, this team is heading in a good direction, in the right direction, and there's a good coach/GM combo. Hopefully it'll last a while. I think this season is going to be filled with a lot of close losses, and I'm excited to see the future of this team, because they've got 1.5 million picks just from the Donovan Mitchell trade and the Rudy Gobert trade, and we'll see where these teams go. Yeah, that was the last team. I got through this a lot faster than I thought I would. I guess it's for me right now, because the season has already started. It's a little bit harder to, throw out the prediction. All of the predictions I had for each team, because it's like, oh well, that sounds kind of silly now. And they figure that out, blah blah blah. Yeah. So this is how I think the West will go. I think it'll be 1 OKC. I think 2 is going to be the T-Wolves. 3, you go Grizzlies. 4, you go Denver. 5, you go the Suns. 6, Mavs. 7, Pelicans. 8, Lakers. 9, Kings. 10, Warriors. Sorry, Warrior fans. 11, Rockets. 12, Spurs. 13, Clippers. 14, Jazz. 15, Portland. Not too dissimilar from last season. We'll see if it holds up. Yeah, it's been a fun run for New York sports, guys. Hope everyone had a great sports equinox yesterday. We had all the Big Four going and MLS playoffs. That was fun for bettors. Yeah, make sure you're liking, sharing, subscribing. Check us out on YouTube. Give us a comment. Throw us a follow. Appreciate all of it. Yeah, check us out for the next episode. It'll probably be football, but at the same time, you never really know. Anyway, thank you again for listening. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Appreciate all of you for doing so. Hope you have a great day, evening, day, or whenever you're listening. Thanks for listening, and see ya.